Trump's pick for Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, took to the Senate floor in 2002 after a Supreme Court decision, and he went on a very questionable rant. He said, quote, "The court seemed to say that they had divined somehow that the American people had evolved in their thinking, and therefore the laws their legislatures had passed were not valid anymore, that they could not execute people who were retarded." What? He continues, "However you feel about that, that is a dangerous philosophy. But it is a philosophy afoot in America today. It is a philosophy, I think, that is dangerous to liberty. If you care about the Constitution, you will enforce it. The good and the bad parts." I love the irony of saying, this is amazing. They don't even want us to execute mentally retarded people anymore. And then the very next sentence is, "However you feel about that, that is a dangerous philosophy." So it's a philosophy to be against it's a dangerous philosophy to be against allowing the states to execute mentally retarded people. I can't. If you created these Republicans in a lab, you couldn't make them more stupid than they are. Okay, the whole idea about not executing mentally retarded people is, and I know that's not the PC language. Hop up off my ass. It's literally in the story and it's the language he used, okay? But the whole idea behind it is they are incapable of understanding the consequences of their actions. So the level of intent cannot be as malicious as somebody who is saying, in cold blood, I'm going to murder, that's the point to murder, I want to inflict harm, I want to do this evil act, and I know it's evil, and I'm aware of that. So in other words, it's kind of like saying, hey, with somebody who's so handicapped mentally like that, since they don't understand the consequence of their action, it's almost like, by default, manslaughter and not murder. And I'm pretty sure for manslaughter, there is no death penalty. It's only for murder. So, yeah, of course it makes sense. And by the way, the whole reasoning is, you ready for this? Try to disagree with this one. I dare you. That to execute a mentally retarded person is cruel and unusual punishment, which is obviously, that's the Eighth Amendment, a ban on cruel and unusual punishment. So of course that's cruel, of course that's unusual. It's unusual because most places in the world don't fucking execute mentally retarded people. Most places in the world don't execute people. Most states do not have the death penalty, certainly most modern states. So is it cruel? Yeah, you're killing somebody, and you're killing somebody who's mentally retarded. Is it unusual? Yeah, nobody does it. So that is the definition of something that violates the Eighth Amendment. But Jeff Sessions is like, no, it's dangerous to interpret the Eighth Amendment in the most literal, straightforward way imaginable. Because you know what his argument is? He's like, well, yeah, I mean, if you go back to the founding, we don't think they had a problem with executing mentally retarded people, so why should we have a problem with it? Yeah, good reasoning, Jeff. They also claim to believe in freedom and liberty, and they own slaves. Was that the interpretation you want to use? The founders. It was the founders. The founders, their intent is all that matters. Right, well, their intent was, we believe in freedom and liberty, and where's my slave? I want to fuck her. Founders. Oh, they're so brilliant. Look, in some ways they were brilliant. I don't deny that. In some ways they were not. Yes, they may have come up with the awesome First Amendment, and they believed in secularism, and they were way ahead of their time in that sense. They also wore powdered wigs and shat in outhouses. And there were founding fathers who said, we need to rewrite the Constitution every X amount of years because, hey, the times are going to change. And when times change, you need to evolve with the times. Jeff Sessions is arguing specifically against that idea. He's like, hey, to say that executing mentally retarded people is cruel and unusual is like evolving with the times and being like a decent moral person. I'm against that. So again, let's refresh here. Let's review here. He's saying it's a dangerous philosophy to have the federal government say you can't execute mentally retarded people. Pretty sure the danger is the opposite, Jeff. Pretty sure the danger is what you're saying. Having this government, which is supposed to not do cruel and unusual punishment, but you do cruel and unusual punishment, and you just say, by definition, anything that was not cruel in the 1700s is still not cruel today.